I want to ask you about the movement. If you know, be careful what you wish for now, in that you become a figurehead and a leader to a way of thinking. Have you thought about how that could grow? I mean,
I have, because actually, at one point here in the District of Columbia, vocational ed was like primo.
When was that?
60s and 70s, and even before that, when you had Phelps and Margaret Washington and Chamberlain and teaching so many vocational education courses.
But you have Phelps again now.
Yes, you do have Phelps again now. You do. If I'm not mistaken, Phelps has a pretty high requirement to get in.
You talked to Mr. Brown about that? Kwame Brown, since he's really been a big part of it?
No, I have not.
Okay. Has he spoken to you? Has he
not about that, no.
Okay.
They use the same curriculum that we do. It was when we started this, it was truly, we had a requirement of a 2.5 GPA. Sometimes, when you sit with a young person, you can see the potential. See, we so often, what we do as a community, we look at what shows up. We can't see past what shows up. There's always more than what shows up. There's always something different than what shows up. And when you sit with a young person who's had some struggle, some tough times, but you see that they really want to make a change, and that the desire is there, they just don't know how. And once again, nobody has ever taken the time with them to cultivate and to train. And they're hearing, your daddy was no good, you're going to be no good, you're going to be nothing just like your daddy. Then that's what they begin to believe. But when you sit with them, and for a moment, if you can just grab their trust just for a second, and they begin to talk about their dreams and their desires, and you can see the inner working. Okay, you got a 1.6 GPA, but that's all right, because we're going to meet you right where you are. Come on, let's do this thing. They end up being your best students.
Okay, but what about the ones that end up, and I know that, there's a lot of great stories, but with every success story, there's got to be a few people in there that just didn't make it. They tried to make it and they were motivated, but they still didn't have the technique, and they ended up in a place where they shouldn't be.
Right now we've got, from the time we started to now, we have almost 100 graduates out of this program. And I must tell you, that out of 100 graduates, there's probably 3 that's not doing it. That are not standing on their own.
What does that mean? Standing on their own?
Being self-sufficient.
They're staying at home?
They're being self-sufficient and being taxpayers, working, going to school, providing for their family.
Okay, but what about the ones that end up? Have you ever had to go to jail and counsel someone there?
No.
You wouldn't do that, or you
Oh,
just haven't?
Absolutely, I would have. I haven't had to from any
really?
from this academy.
Wow.
Never.
Because I would think, being a preacher, and this is enough in and of itself, but then that's sort of a side career, I guess, and you represent a certain church. You deal with some adversity, right?
Absolutely.
You come across people that, unfortunately, they weren't not necessarily sincere. They're deceptive.
Well, honest to goodness, so many people are. Most people are. But this is ministry.
Did you say most people are? Do you go into it with the realization that not everything is always the way it seems?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I understand that. But it's not done. Most of the time, it's not done vindictively. It's done from pain. It's a protection.
So they can justify it.
People, I don't think it's a justification. It's their reasoning, which is okay, because at some point with our kids here, when they throw up that wall and they're not being honest, they're not being open, once once they see that we are, it eventually comes down.
Well, what if they try to bring you down, though?
Well, I've been doing this long enough to know better.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this long enough.
Mm-hmm.
I see it happening, and you know, I know I've been doing this long enough to know how to keep the balance, to keep the distance.
And you know when to step away from it.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, the fact that you give out your cell phone number and that sort of thing, I mean, it makes you vulnerable in some ways.
No, it really doesn't.
Okay.
You know, once, the thing about it is that, you know, it's not like every student in this academy has this
Not posted up on the side.
Right, right.
You choose, you make your decision.
Absolutely. There was a time when, I'll take for Saturday, for instance, we had an event here that lasted until 8 o'clock, and I had some of the kids come to work. Well, I had a young man that came in to work with me, and he was here, and I says, okay, well, when you get home, he's one of my seniors, I says, I need you to let me know that you're home. And so he says, well, it's going to be a little late. I says, what's a little late? And he says, well, I don't plan on getting home until about 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, do your people know, does your family know you're not coming home to that late? He said, yeah, because my mom says I could go over to my friend's house. Okay, well, when you get home, you text me. Now, I'll be asleep, but I still want you to text me. 12:51, there was a text. He said 1 o'clock, 12:51, there the text was.
Yeah, that's
home.
impressive.
You know.
That is impressive.
But the thing about it is that one of the things that is paramount, and it's mutual respect. It's mutual respect. You respect me, I respect you.
But some kids don't even respect their parents.
Well, see, that's it. And I will tell you this, and as crazy as this may seem, that is not my issue. Because you will respect me. That you not respecting your parents is not my issue. But what I do hope is that with learning to respect me, that you'll take some of that home. Because I'm an authority, and so is your parent. So I'm hoping that you will get to learn how to respect authority.
Yeah, but here's the thing that, you know, as a person in your position, that I would think would be so difficult to deal with sometimes, when you realize that their parents are just so inept at what they do, that it really makes it difficult for you to do your job, because you're dealing with a kid who essentially is a disadvantage when they come to you to begin. Their parents are doing some stupid things at home, acting like kids themselves.
Absolutely.
And you almost think, you know, if there were such thing as a license, some parents wouldn't even deserve to get a license to be a parent.
And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But you know what? You get some parents who are very cooperative, and they're very active, and so, okay, you welcome those. And then you have that population that you just spoke of. And the fact of the matter is, I do my job here. I give kids coping mechanisms to take home. So if your family is jacked up, this is how you deal. This is how you get through. And one of the things I tell students in high school is that if you come here and do what's required, you will be successful, no doubt about it. And understand that if your family and your home life is jacked up, you have less time ahead of you with them than you do behind you. So you almost there. If you've done it all this time, suck it up and keep doing it until it's time for you to walk out the door and do your own thing.
Okay.
And that's, you know, and people don't look at it like that. You're in 10th grade. You got 3 years, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And then you're ready to go. Go off to college. Go to work. Get your own.
Okay, well, that's a good way. I mean, obviously, that you're painting a potential that they can make it through the...
Absolutely. See, you know, the thing for me is that I'm a product of DC Public School, the projects. I work in the projects at DC. Kenilworth Court. And my parents, my mother graduated from here. She came out here in 1951. Hi, Diamond. She graduated from here in 1951. My dad...
Hold that thought.